threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Back at it, my friend.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. I'd like to see you dancing over there. So you know the week has started. You know,
Still going.
Can't stop. Can't stop.
I'll go ahead and play that intro again.
Don't want to hit it one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited today because we're moving on.
We are moving on.
We're on our final series of
Yeah.
2025. It's blown by, man.
It has. I'm like, we're in September. Or what is it? This probably releasing in December.
I don't know.
I don't know where everything releases, so this might be next year.
I think it's October or something. October.
But yeah, we're into fall.
Yeah, welcome.
Either way.
Welcome to spooky season.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, we wanted to kick off kind of this new fall series, which goes along with the stuff we've been doing. But this is Surviving Disasters Past, where we're going to talk about past disasters and go into the details of like how it shapes society today, what we learned from it, and how we can prevent the same things from happening again.
Yeah. How can you prevent an earthquake?
Prevent the complications that come from these disasters.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
And so today we're going to start off with a really crappy one. And so we're going to talk about the 1906 San Francisco earthquake.
Yeah.
So this thing, man, over 80% of San Francisco was leveled after this earthquake, leaving more than 200,000 people homeless and forcing survivors to improvise shelter, food, and community order.
Yeah.
So this episode, we're going to talk about explore how earthquakes would affect us today, what we've learned from this huge disaster, and go into the details of prepping that we always do anyway.
Yeah.
We're just going to use the past to scare you about the future. Okay?
Yeah, welcome to the show. We're going to do that. I do have to tell you about BattleBox, though. It is the monthly subscription box full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, BattleBox sends you the coolest selection of hand-picked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you'd normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month. The Midland X-Talker two-way radios.
Always important.
Always good stuff. And the FlexTail Zero mattress.
So cool.
Yeah, this was actually a really great box.
Well, this box was ready to go. Like you could open it on the mountain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we did probably.
Yeah.
I think Cam did. All this badassness starts at just $34.99 per month. They've shipped over 1 million boxes, and they won Best Subscription Box of 2020. Our listeners get 15% off when you sign up at survive.battlebox.com/casual preppers. Get your first battle box and 15% off at survive.battlebox.com/casual preppers.
Yeah. Be ready to go right to bat.
Yeah, if you're in 1906 type earthquake, you're going to want a battle box by your side.
Yeah.
You know what I
Or
mean?
if you go back in time, take the battle box with you.
Exactly.
It's help a lot of people.
That's exactly. So let's break down what happened in the 1906 earthquake. April 18th, 1906, 5:12 a.m. Of course, it was first thing in the morning. Didn't even let you sleep in.
No.
You couldn't sleep in. A foreshock rattled San Francisco. Then the main rupture tore loose seconds later. I didn't realize there was a foreshock. That's a thing.
I didn't know that either.
Foreshock.
Ooh,
Strong.
foreshock.
Pull
back to foreshock.
Pull back to foreshock. Here it comes. Strong shaking lasted close to a full minute and was felt from southern Oregon to Los Angeles and even into Nevada.
Wow.
Yeah, that shaking was
Shaking bacon.
Shaking bacon. The San Andreas Fault ruptured nearly 300 miles, with the ground offset sideways by as much as 20 feet in some areas.
Crap.
So that was a beast.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Fences, orchards, and roads ended up badly misaligned overnight. Yeah, can you imagine if the highway was like 20 feet off?
Yeah.
That causes issues.
Yeah.
Right? Or if your orchard was 20 feet off.
Or if your bathroom's 20 feet off, just go walk into the bathroom and then
toilet's here, your tub's over there.
felt some shaking. Wait a minute. The fridge is across the whole
Fell asleep on
field.
the toilet, woke up, and I don't know what happened. You know?
Yeah, it's just weird.
This is odd. Inside the city, brick and stone buildings crumbled instantly, and wood-framed homes were tossed off their foundations. Apparently, you just had to have like a concrete house to survive this thing. I don't know. Streetcar tracks and rail lines twisted, streets buckled, and whole sections of the waterfront slid into the bay. Sounds bad.
That does sound bad.
You know what I mean?
Feels like they just left it and just repaved over everything because San Francisco is such a mess.
It's a mess, huh? The real catastrophe followed the quake itself, which is a normal thing, right? Gas mains ruptured, stoves toppled, sparking fires across the city. This is where things got really hairy in San Francisco. Efforts to fight the flames backfired. This is
I didn't know
crazy.
they did this.
Dynamite fire breaks were used without training.
Yeah.
They're just like...
And that's the thing. This was thought about beforehand. And they were like, we can use this. But it was thrown together because the main guy behind it all died.
Yeah. Well, and the main guy behind it all didn't get everybody trained, apparently, the way they should have.
And when I was listening to details about this, they were using like black powder. So it was just like hot flames blowing more, like burning debris into more areas.
Oh my gosh, not good. So they were using dynamite to try and build fire breaks, and that did not work at all. Accidentally starting new fires is to spread even faster. I was like, well, if we put a bunch of gas out there, maybe that'll help. You know? No.
Burn it faster. Burn it all faster.
Yeah, burn it as fast as we can.
I think they were using artillery too, like
oh my gosh.
just blowing everything up.
Just whatever they could do. Yeah. And then with the water
They didn't
mains,
know what they were doing.
No.
They're just like, this is going
It was
to blow everything.
1906. With water mains all shattered, the hydrants really didn't have really very much water. Only a handful of them worked, including the now famous golden hydrant that saved part of the Mission District. Apparently, there was one that was working.
Oh, yeah. That was another thing this guy had thought up as like backup water supplies. Like,
yeah.
And they weren't established yet. But
no,
I guess they had a golden hydrant.
They had one. It worked great. To make matters worse, Fire Chief Dennis Sullivan.
Yeah, this is the guy.
This is the guy
He's
he
like
was talking about.
Pretty prepared. Like he studied all this and had a plan, but he ended up
and the firehouse collapsed on him.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Like as this happened, basically leaving the city without experienced leadership as the fires raged.
You would think there'd be more people. It was like one guy has
we got a guy. He can fight the fires. That's good.
So what if we do? I don't know. Go ask Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah.
Dennis knows what's going on.
Unfortunately, he's under a pile of bricks. What do we do? I don't know. Blow
I can't get him on the radio. I don't know. Did they even have radios back then? I guess they wouldn't have. Wouldn't have had walkie-talkies.
I've been yelling loud. Fire chief ain't answering. Okay. But yeah, he's like, I'll just go blow stuff up. We'll figure it out. The Inferno burned for 3 straight days.
Wow.
Destroying around only like 28,000 buildings and nearly 500 city blocks.
God.
There's like everything.
Yeah.
That's why 80% of San Francisco lay in ruins at the end of this. It
80%.
It wasn't the earthquake.
Yeah.
I mean, it did devastate, but it
but
was
all
the fires.
that stuff afterwards.
It was the fires, man.
And you can see, I mean, just recently with Malibu and all that, like you can see how bad the fire can, like, how much it can destroy everything.
It definitely can. At least 3,000 people were killed. A number likely undercounted as many deaths went unreported.
Because they were underground, under rubble.
Well, yeah, and they just, it was
Undercounted.
1906. They did the best they could. They couldn't count that high, apparently. The counter was killed. There's one guy who was the Mr. Calculator. He died.
We don't know math anymore.
Everybody count to 50.
It didn't seem like there's like one distinct guy in every department. That was it.
That was it. Yeah. I mean, that tells you something. One is none, or two is one and one is none, right?
Yeah.
And it's something like that. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Around 225,000 to 250,000 people were left homeless.
Ugh.
Forced into parks, open fields, and army-run refugee camps that sprang up around the city. And they've never left. They still live there.
I was going to say. That sounds pretty much like San Francisco right now.
Sounds like San Francisco right now. There were all
Never,
our San
ever
Francisco
found a home.
listeners. Yeah.
Listen, I did visit San Francisco, and we still talk about it. It's a cool city.
Sure. Yeah.
But it has some problems.
It has some problems.
I mean, any big place has some
Sure,
problems.
yeah. Conditions in the camps quickly grew dire, obviously. Food and clean water were scarce, sanitation poor, and disease spread easily. Entire families slept under tents or makeshift shelters for weeks, some for months. They just lived out there now. With mains broken and sewage flowing into the streets, outbreaks of dysentery and other illnesses flared in the camps, as they would. Sanitation quickly became one of the most dangerous threats. So we got fire and we got dysentery. It's not a great combination.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Okay? The U.S. Army and Navy mobilized. More than 4,000 federal troops joined the National Guard to patrol the streets, protect supplies, and assist in firefighting and rescue. Just a bunch of National Guard people trying to fight.
And no,
the fires.
Trump wasn't behind this.
No, he did not.
Order him to come in.
I don't know. Maybe he did. He could have one of those DeLoreans, and he's going back in time and doing it. Navy ships anchored in the bay pumped seawater onto the burning waterfront. So, I mean, you might as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Send that salty water on the fire. So a lot of people think martial law was actually declared here, but it wasn't. But something very similar was declared.
This is intense.
Yeah, Mayor Eugene Schmitz issued a proclamation authorizing police and soldiers to shoot looters on sight.
That'll stop them.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine if we did that today?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy, our population would be much lower.
It'd be way lower.
It would be way lower. Those orders were enforced. Historians debate on how many were actually shot. Estimates range from dozens to possibly a few hundred.
I'm guessing a few hundred.
Probably more like a few hundred, right? Lotta's Fountain downtown became a central meeting place for separated families and survivors. A role so iconic that it remains the site of annual memorial gatherings today.
Wow.
That's kind of
Didn't
cool.
know that.
This is interesting. There was like this bank paralysis after this because the bank vaults were superheated by the fire, so they couldn't open them for days. They just couldn't
It's like
get in.
opening a big oven.
Yeah, it's like opening like an oven, and so they couldn't even get it. They're like, no, it's too hot.
Wow.
Like, you can't even touch that sucker. You want to go touch it? No.
Does your safe go up to 30,000 degrees? Is that
normal? So business obviously ground to a halt, leaving many residents unable to access their savings. There was one bank vault guy, and he couldn't get to all of them. He died, right?
So any gold coins just melted together?
Yeah, it was just like a gold.
Sorry, it's all big one brick.
Big gold like pile in the bottom of the thing, pretty much. Aftershocks rattled the region for days, including a strong one 5 days later near Eureka. Already weakened buildings collapsed, and terrified survivors refused to re-enter standing structures.
I could see that, yeah.
Choosing to live outdoors despite the cold.
And that's how you have the history of
That's
San
why
Francisco.
San Francisco is San Francisco.
That's crazy. I would be. I'd be terrified.
I would
It's
too,
like it's
yeah.
going to all crumble.
Yeah.
If not, you're going to dynamite it. And then we're going to walk into the street of feces.
Exactly.
I'm leaving.
I got dysentery. I'm crapping my pants. I'm looking at fires. This is not
Sounds
good.
terrifying,
I don't like
yeah.
this place. So by the time the last fire was out, San Francisco had gone from a thriving modern city to a smoldering ruin, a disaster zone where survival depended on improvisation, cooperation, and sheer endurance.
God, so
Yeah.
crazy.
So
I'd read some of the reports. Even Jack London had wrote a short story about like what he saw, and it just sounds like surreal. It's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, it's
I can
nuts,
imagine
man.
just all embers.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
That's not good.
gone.
Yeah, baby,
So-
gone.
Let's talk about why it all matters. I mean, there has to be something that came out of this, right?
Yeah.
So 1906 earthquake was a landmark event in disaster preparedness, often marked as the first major modern U.S. urban disaster. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I don't know if that's true, but I think it is.
I think so.
Yeah. Has to be.
Has to be true.
Has to be. Because it did, what it did is revealed critical weakness in modern U.S. city.
It definitely did. Again, we had one dude.
One
He
dude
died.
that, like-
we couldn't fight the fire.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, dynamite at all. He said something about it the other day.
I remember him telling about dynamite, something about it. He had something in the
Exactly.
back room.
I know. Where it's like, everybody's like, you get a dynamite, you get a dynamite. Go pick what building you want.
Go by your house and dynamite the neighbors. It ought to work.
I got diarrhea. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah.
Then the disaster provides an enduring lesson on the necessity of coordinated response.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's like one person that had a lot of training on this didn't relay that training, or did, and it just was totally uncoordinated.
Yeah.
The earthquake also showed how a single catastrophic event could completely overwhelm a local government, leading to widespread chaos.
Yep.
And we still see that today.
For sure.
So it's like, what did we learn from this?
Yeah.
So the failure of the local government, the city's fire and police departments were quickly incapacitated, underscoring the inadequacy of relying solely on local resources.
I mean, and I think this is one of the catalysts for things like FEMA. right?
Yes, yeah. So
For
that's
sure.
the birth of coordinated response came from this. The disaster demonstrated the need for multi-agency approach involving not just municipal services, but also military and nonprofit organizations like the American Red Cross. Fire Chief Sullivan, as you mentioned, he'd really thought out a lot of things of like having backup water supplies to put out fires, doing this fire, like to use the dynamite to stop fires. But he like the information just never really built enough out for people to understand what to do. So that's one thing that we learned from this is it needs to be like in multiple groups, understanding how to take care of a catastrophe like this. And then it really shows the clear example of a cascading disaster after.
This is
something.
like
It's like earthquake.
Perfect example.
And crumbling of buildings is scary, but it's all the crap that comes after it.
Exactly.
It's
Dysentery.
so bad.
That's what we're talking about.
Number
all
one.
the crap.
Number one.
comes after it.
Yeah, literally. And then fire as a primary destroyer. It's such a huge risk after an earthquake. It ruptured gas lines, sparked fires across the city. Simultaneously destroyed the city's water mains, leaving firefighters with no way to combat the blazes.
That's like a cascading thing. Obviously, it ruptures gas lines. There's fire. It ruptures water lines.
Can't put out the fire. So
squishes the fire chief. Nobody knows what to do.
Exactly. This is a perfect storm.
Perfect storm.
So in response, San Francisco built the auxiliary water supply system, and Sullivan advocated before. But before it all came into play, he died, and they never had the system set up. But he's the one that talked about having these hydrants and all this stuff. Apparently, got a golden one built.
Yeah,
but that's
got
it.
That one.
And then he advocated for a separate high pressure water system designed specifically for firefighting. It's crazy to think like we've always had it and grown up with it, but to think of a system without this,
it had to start.
Fire would have went crazy.
Yeah.
So that's what we learned from that. The other thing that we should learn from this, I don't know how well we learned from this.
No.
But the overwhelmed humanitarian aid. With over 250,000 people displaced, the city had to scramble to provide shelter, food, sanitation, demonstrating the immense logistical challenges of mass care.
It was impossible.
It was
back then.
It was impossible for the people. It was impossible for the city. And so that's something that we should think about too. It's like you may be faced with a time where you need, you're going to have refugees, and how do you take care of them as well as yourself too?
Well, and also if you think back, this is 1906. Those people had a little bit different mindsets and skills than people today have.
For sure.
And they had a hard time in 1906. Yeah. They all ended up with dysentery and dynamite in their pants or whatever was going on. But now, think about it now. If there was 250,000 people displaced and nobody could do anything without ChatGPT or,
it's a different problem.
It's a whole different problem. It's
crazy.
like a whole nother level.
It's like the same problem, but in a different way. It's
in a
so
different
weird.
way, yeah.
So, what came from this was systemized relief. The crisis helped standardize the role of organizations like the Red Cross and led to the creation of formal plans for mass care and refugee camp management. I don't know how good it's gotten, but it did start.
But at least there are plans.
There are plans.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other things, it's crazy to think earthquakes really weren't very well understood at this time. And so it led to different lessons and understanding of how an earthquake works, like the elastic rebound theory came from this, which explains how earthquakes are caused by sudden release of buildup of strain along a fault.
Pressure.
The tectonic plates weren't understood in 1906. It was just new information. So it's kind of crazy. And then also highlighted the danger of soil liquefaction in areas built on soft ground.
Yeah.
Wise man booze.
Well, that's a part of the thing why they're so scared of a big earthquake in Salt Lake, because the ground is it's a former a lake bed.
Lake bed.
So it's basically, they said if there's a big one, it's just
yeah. So they've been redoing all the structures in downtown Salt Lake with more reinforced earthquake proof stuff. So and then the other thing is the widespread collapse of unreinforced buildings led to the development of seismic building codes, which is kind of new and good nowadays.
That's definitely good.
Yeah. And then the social and policy lessons. The disaster exposed stark social iniquities, particularly the discriminatory treatment of marginalized communities. This was one of the worst things. Is like,
I didn't really talk about that, but there was some crazy stuff that happened.
and this will happen. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like an opportunity for a town that has problems with,
certain people.
certain people.
Yeah.
Which I'll talk about later. The importance of having papers and documentation and having insurance and identification, because a lot of people lost all of this, and they're like, "This is a perfect opportunity," because Chinatown was huge, and they're like, "We're going to get rid of all these Chinese now," and that's a horrible history where we're not going to really go into detail in. But
It's a thing.
it makes you like. Hopefully, it will help you understand the importance of this, especially, if you are not white.
Yeah.
Then you should consider like, well, if I need to prove that I am a citizen of the United States,
Or
I mean,
depending
now
on
a time more than ever.
Or depending on where you live and you are white.
Exactly.
It could go either way.
That's true. That's
right?
true.
Definitely could go either
So
way.
it's just kind of an interesting lesson you learn of like the city. A lot of the people already had problems with the Chinese, and they use this opportunity to kind of screw them over big time.
They did, yeah.
It's pretty crappy.
They probably stole all their dynamite, firecrackers,
Dragons,
dragons.
fireworks.
Hey, if you guys didn't know, electrolyte deficiency or imbalances can cause headaches, cramps, fatigue, weakness. As people want to be prepared and ready for anything, the last thing you need is something that will slow you down when you need to be ready the most. That's why we at Casual Preppers have teamed up with Element. It is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing that you don't. We think Element is perfect for bug out bags and EDC kits because it contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Casual Preppers listeners can get a free Element sample pack of the most popular drink flavors when you make any purchase through our exclusive Casual Preppers link. This offer may be claimed by first-time and returning Element customers. This offer is exclusively available through VIP Element partners. You're not going to find this anywhere else. You have to go to drinkelement.com/casual preppers to get your order and your free sample pack. That is drinklmnt.com/casual preppers.
That'd be a great one to have on hand for your refugees.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you got dysentery.
Absolutely.
You're losing some electrolytes there. So what are some of the survival lessons that we learned from 1906? And I want to talk about shelter and displacement because some of the stuff we already talked about, but I want to reiterate this. Over 200,000 people were suddenly homeless. Basically, entire neighborhoods poured into parks, fields, and the Presidio. Tent cities sprang up overnight, many supplied by the Army, Red Cross, and volunteers. Like, these weren't temporary. Some of these lasted months or even years. Like, people were in those tents for several years after 1906 earthquake, which is so crazy.
That is crazy.
Families built lean-tos from lumber scraps and blankets and tarps. Those who didn't secure shelter early faced long, cold nights in the open, exposed to the damp fog rolling in off the bay. I assume it's not very fun to camp in that.
Completely wet.
Oh yeah, that's like the worst thing. That humid when it's cold.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I like my dry cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will take dry cold. Yeah.
Yeah. The government eventually constructed thousands of small wooden shacks from salvaged lumber, an early version of FEMA trailers, which housed families for years as the city slowly rebuilt. Because this wasn't something where it was like,
crazy.
Oh, a month later, everything was fine.
Yeah.
80% of the freaking city was burned.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going back to your house next week, right? It takes some time.
Right.
So I say this because the prepper takeaway when it comes to the shelter and displacement is shelter really is like, it's a number one priority. It's top tier priority. And that comes to your house, but it also comes to having a secondary way to stay sheltered, whether that is a good tent, whether that's having tarps, or even understanding how to rig something up with rope and, and whatever else you can find out there. Just having some skills to build a shelter could be huge. It could be the difference between being dead or alive or sick or not sick.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that was one of the biggest things I took away from this. I was like, you might just instantly lose your vehicle and your house from an earthquake. Yes. And then it's like, if you didn't have anything prepared or a way to like pick up some supplies, like you're going to be out in the cold.
You are. I mean, you're going to be relying on that federal aid or local. And we know that local aid is very easily overwhelmed. We saw that here, right? So they had to wait for the federal aid to come in. But it's just a huge thing. It's a big takeaway from this. Make sure that shelter is a big priority. Yeah. And you think about that, you're like, oh, I've got a house.
Yeah.
It's all good, right? In an earthquake, that is up in the air, like quickly, because it could be.
And don't put
fire.
the government as your number one
Do
backup.
Do not
ever.
Who's your emergency contact? FEMA.
Yeah, exactly.
No, not good.
Don't plan on them helping you.
Don't plan on
If you end up needing them and they're there, great.
Fantastic.
But if
Utilize
I
it.
wouldn't plan on it.
No. So let's talk about fire and secondary hazards, because we talked about this. Fires raged for 3 days straight, destroying way more than the quake did itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Started again by somebody with dynamite. Stick.
Many survivors who escaped collapsed buildings later lost everything in the flames because the fire does not care. It just keeps burning.
Yeah.
Water mains were destroyed, and this was obviously a secondary hazard here, leaving fire crews with no pressure in their hoses. They relied on bucket brigades, cisterns, and even seawater pumped from the bay, like we talked about. City officials, desperate to stop the spread, again tried dynamite. Fire breaks. Was not executed.
Didn't
Great.
work well.
It was very bad. Many fatalities came not from falling buildings, but from smoke inhalation and raging firestorms. So there's smoke. I mean, especially if you have lung issues or anything like that, this is going to be a gigantic issue here. So what is the prepper takeaway? In any earthquake, fire is the number one killer after the shaking stops. So that is something that you have to be prepared and ready for. Obviously the shaking is bad, and if something falls on your face, you're going to die probably. But if you make it through that, you have to be
all the
aware.
Stuff that's like, could explode or start on fire. It's like terrifying.
So you have to be prepared for that. You think, I'm ready for. I've got my hot water heater screwed up against the wall. I've got, no, like that's the. Initial.
I always thought it was like that. Like you got to survive the earthquake, and then you're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So the shaking stopped. Then everything else.
Remember the song? Shake, stop. Remember we had a song at one point on one of our earthquake episodes? That was a long time ago. So you have to be ready with fire extinguishers, with masks, with tools, and knowing how to shut off your gas lines. All of that stuff is like so important if you're worried about earthquakes. If you're in California, if you're in Utah, like we are, where we worry about earthquakes, you have to understand that. You have to be ready for it. So that's a big thing. And then water and sanitation. Obviously, we talked about the fresh water disappearing very quickly. The mains shattered. Survivors lined up at public pumps or waited for the wagon deliveries organized by the Army to bring them water.
This is for the fire.
This is dysentery water. Have a drink. It's great. Refugee camps soon learned the sanitation was just as dangerous as hunger. Without toilets, waste piled up everywhere, and then you get disease. That's where the dysentery comes from. People dug makeshift latrines, they used buckets, and they buried waste away from tents to control outbreaks, which obviously didn't always work, right? Officials
keep that in mind when you visit the city, that underneath is probably a bunch of poop buckets.
Officials feared cholera and typhoid and only narrowly avoided epidemics thanks to Army oversight and enforced sanitation measures. So it was lucky that the Army got in and they understand some of this stuff, because they've always got people together in crappy places like this. They're like, we got to do this and this and this and this. Because most people don't understand that stuff. It's like, well, I'm just going to shit over there and then I'm going to make my dinner. Don't do that. You gotta.
What we've learned from Oregon Trail.
Yes,
you can't do those things.
You cannot do that. So, what's your prepper takeaway? Always have backup water and a sanitation plan. You got to have that water stored. You have to have filters. You have to know how to handle the waste as much as you understand how to handle food. Yeah, both of those things are very critical.
It's so true to put those together, because it's like if you can drink as much water as you want, but if it's spraying out your butthole,
doesn't
you ain't
matter.
gonna get any better.
No, it's not good.
You're just wasting it.
You're wasting that water, man.
Just pouring it through yourself.
Yeah. And community and order. The sheer scale of the displacement meant that no one could survive alone. You're not just going to go out there on your own, on the beach in San Francisco and live. Like, there's too many people out there. There's too much crap going on. That's why communities formed really quickly in these camps. Neighbors were sharing food and clothing and tools, while strangers stepped up to organize community kitchens, childcare, and aid distribution. This is something that actually did happen here. The Army and the National Guard enforced order. Obviously, looting was a real issue, and the mayor's shoot-on-sight proclamation against looters was carried out. And it sounds like it worked in some way, shape, or form, because there was a lot of dead looters. That's when you know it worked. Soldiers guarded food lines, rationed supplies, and patrolled camps, preventing violence and hoarding. Despite the chaos, many survivors later recalled that cooperation, not conflict, kept people
It's
alive.
crazy.
So
You would think that'd be the worst possible thing, but it actually helps.
And there is some of that, right? There's obviously conflict, but the cooperation, the people helping each other, that's how people get through this stuff. So what is the takeaway here for preppers? Community is kind of like your force multiplier here. Lone wolf prepping might work on paper, and I don't even know if it works on paper, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But in a disaster of a scale like this, those who band together really do have the best
and
chance.
follow, like, try to, like, I understand that's hard, but
Follow some rules.
follow some rules.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about some modern prepper takeaways for us.
okay. Yeah.
And earthquakes have always been like a terrifying thing for me. It's like top of the list, one of my top 3 things in the place that we live.
Yeah. Alien
So-
invasion,
Yeah. Yeah.
asteroid,
Yeah.
earthquake.
Exactly in that
Yeah.
order.
Dysentery was 4.
Dysentery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thinking, like, listening to all the fires and devastation. So let's talk about first your home safety.
Yeah.
Securing your belongings for that collapse and all that stuff that happens with the earthquake.
Ooh.
I love those.
Hey.
Earthquake originally, you don't want stuff to fall and kill you like Mr. Sullivan. That was
Yeah,
pretty unfortunate.
Bad deal.
Some of it can't be prevented, but build a good quality home for one. 2,
Yeah, sure.
secure all of your shelves and stuff like that. Like, that's one thing I remember in my home growing up. We were in northern Utah, like along the fault line, and it's like all of our stuff my dad had like bolted to cement foundation.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea.
That was a great idea.
Good
job, Papa Hardy.
Yeah. And then the thing that you were saying, like, you really need to understand where your safety shutoff are, and don't have it covered up by bookshelves and couches. Make it easily accessible so that you can shut those off as fast as possible to minimize damage.
For all the utilities.
Not burn everybody, burn everybody else's house down because yours started on fire. You could maybe prevent that. And the other big thing that I would, have you take away from this is like critical documents and cash.
Oh, yeah.
So rubble can bury it all and destroy it. Then it starts on fire. Then people are pooping on it.
You ain't going to want to
And then
take
it's
that out.
soaking wet from everybody washing, trying to
Then
put
it
out
gets
the
blown
fire.
up by dynamite.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you need to have multiple copies of your most important documents.
Yeah.
Digital, hard copies, stored in different places. And typically it's best in like a fireproof, waterproof safe. Put those things in there. Remember that. And then emergency cash. We live in a time that's all run by plastic and electricity and all that. And so that stuff will be, shut off. And so then you're left with, I can't buy anything because I can't use my credit card or my phone or my proximity, whatever that is. Or what is it? The scanner things on the phone. Proximity
Yeah.
tap to pay things.
Yeah. Apple Pay and whatnot.
Yeah. So, and I'm always grateful to have a store that does that, but I realize I leave my wallet a lot because I could just use my phone.
Because you got your phone.
So it's like, make sure you carry or have some small bills at home and probably in your vehicle and at work and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Emergency gear, essential tools, fire extinguishers, helmets, work gloves, crowbars, things like that. If you live in an earthquake area, you probably want to have some of that so that you can help unbury even a neighbor, hopefully not your own family.
Why not?
Protect your lungs while you're doing all that, like the rubble and the smoke and the dust and all that stuff. You want to protect yourself as long as you can if you're in it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then good footwear is important. There's gonna be broken glass, shards of whatever, shards.
Shards.
All over the place.
Shards and shards.
Yeah. And then again, back to what you were saying, one of the most important things is like have backup shelter, tents and tarps and portable shelter ready to go, either hopefully not all stored in your basement, like in a camper or in your vehicle or in your bug out vehicle, things
Or
like
a
that, so
shed
that
or
you have a
something,
way to set up shelter when there's no shelter. And then again, obviously water, sanitation supplies, and food is always like the most important thing, but focusing kind of more on these unique items. Other things, like understand like the personal care and medical needs that won't be available. Stores, supplies of medical goods and your prescription medications, that's going to go in a hurry.
Oh, so fast. It's gonna be
Especially if you're in
gone
a
so
big
fast.
city, like it's gone.
Yeah.
So have backup supplies of those things. Personal hygiene. You want to keep yourself clean, keep yourself healthy, because it won't matter if you're drinking all that water, it's going right out you.
Have something to rehydrate yourself, like Element.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
really is a big
exactly.
deal.
It's just a store dried, electrolyte solution you just put into the water, which is great.
It's so easy. It's such an easy prep, but it's also something that's great for every day. If you're working out ever, just to have an element with you.
You should.
You really should.
And then glasses, medical devices, if you wear contacts, all that stuff, like have backup supplies, those things. It sometimes gets forgotten. And then tools and
like
power.
think about like all the stuff in the air. Like you're going to be getting stuff in your eyes.
Yeah,
and like
we changing stuff out
gosh.
more than normal. So it's like you definitely want some backup of those things and to protect.
We just had to
eyes.
go to the eye doctor yesterday. My daughter had a piece of metal in her eye that they had to, just like a little shaving.
You have them out grinding?
And she's had it in there for like a week. I kept saying, "Stop worrying about your eye."
Where did it come from?
She doesn't know.
Wow.
Not a clue. It's just, it's a little tiny piece,
Huh,
it was
that's
stuck
crazy.
But just thinking about that in a situation like this, like
you're not gonna be able to find anybody to help you
like
right
you
away.
need to have stuff for that.
Yeah.
Goggles, all that crap.
And then tools and power. Obviously, you're going to be without power, so power banks, portable power supplies, generators. Those are always super important for any disaster. Duct tape and tarps can help you makeshift tools and shelter. And then obviously you're going to be carrying like a multi-tool or blade or pliers and things like that. So
sure.
A lot of different supplies that you have to think about, like to help like uncover garbage and help people and keep yourself safe. But also you might not be in your home. You might be building a tent out in the, out in a field and waiting for supplies or whatever.
Exactly.
So you have to think about those things. But listen, there's a way you can organize all this stuff. You just go to Mad Gear. They are your name for trust, the name you trust for preparedness.
Yeah.
And they have an app for your phone, which makes it even easier.
Definitely.
Just like a renowned contingency planner helps you prepare for hurricanes, power outages, and unexpected emergencies, the Ready Plan app digitizes the essential process. You already have all your other good documents there. You might as well have your plan there too. Organize every detail from specific condition responses and communication plans to evacuation routes and gear checklists, all securely stored and accessible on your device that is on you all the time.
Yep.
The thing I like the most about this is that you can share that plan with your preparedness group or your family.
Pretty awesome.
So it's like you set it all up and you can just share it to them. Hopefully they'll look at it. This is more than an app. It's your dynamic guide to readiness, built with the same step-by-step logic found in our physical planners. Developed by the family and veteran-owned Mad Gear, Ready Plan ensures your critical information is always within reach and readily shareable. Don't wait for a crisis. Visit your app store and download Ready Plan by Mad Gear today. Ready, Set, Plan. Ready Plan by Mad Gear. Redefining preparedness when SHTF. So use our code Casual Preppers for a discount for
Get it done.
Yeah.
Get it done.
For the full version.
Yeah. So I want to talk about any time an earthquake strikes, there are some things you need to consider. Cam talked about
I
a lot
like
of
this.
the
Like
gear.
right away, you need to know a little bit
Yeah.
of a plan.
Yeah, immediate response. The rule is very, very simple here. Drop cover and hold on. Like that's the immediate thing that you need to think about because stuff's going to start falling probably, right?
Yeah.
So you get low, protect your head and neck, and brace until the shaking stops. God, what is that song? I keep hearing it till the shake stops. Something
It's something
I
like, yeah, I remember doing that.
Furniture, light fixtures, and glass.
We sold it for millions, so I can't remember.
Yeah, can become instant hazards, so you have to think about that. If you're indoors, stay put. This is the thing that, like, I think a lot of people in their minds doesn't seem right. Like, oh, I just need to get out of the house. I need to run.
It's true.
Not the case.
Unless the fault opens up, you're safer out there.
Most injuries come from people running outside during shaking and being struck by falling bricks, glass, or debris.
Makes sense.
So move away from the windows and heavy furniture if possible, and then get down low and protect your head inside the house. If you're outdoors, move clear of buildings, trees, power lines, and signs. Those are things you don't want to be hanging out. Don't look up. Don't go, I'm going to go by the power lines. Hang out here. Not good. Don't do that. Open spaces like fields or parking lots are probably the safest spot here. Don't run for a doorway. Everybody was told this as kids.
I remember that.
But the triangle of safety idea is outdated. Modern doorways aren't reinforced and don't provide extra protection.
They know
like
they're
they
garbage
used to.
building nowadays.
Exactly. Aftershocks can strike minutes, hours, or even days later, sometimes nearly as strong as the main quake. Assume every damaged structure is unstable until inspected. Do not just go running back in your house. This is not the best thing, unless obviously you got a kid or something. In there. You gotta, but don't just go like, okay, I'm gonna go finish the baseball game. No, you need to make sure that's inspected and it's okay. Fires are the most common killer after the shaking stops. So broken glass lines, toppled stoves, downed wires can ignite blazes that spread rapidly. Again, learn your gas shutoff and where your extinguishers are. Utilities often fail in the first moments, like water mains break, power lines fail, cell services crash. Expect outages that last beyond the initial event. And transportation systems will probably just grind to a halt, right? You're going to have block roads. You're going to have bridges that maybe are not safe to be driving over anymore. Landslides can cut off entire neighborhoods. So you have to understand that that's probably going to be a thing. And then you have this like urban versus rural survival when it comes to earthquakes. So when you're in the cities, obviously collapsed structures, fallen glass, and firestorms create the most danger. Even if you survive the initial quake, crowded emergency shelters bring their own risks, obviously. Limited sanitation, illness outbreaks, and heightened security concerns. You don't want to get those. You don't want to have to be there. You might be there, but you need to be concerned about it, right?
Yeah.
Rural areas, you may avoid collapsing skyscrapers here, but the challenge is isolation. Help could be days or weeks away, and fuel, medical care, and communications may be cut off completely, and that might be an issue. In both of these settings, the first 72 hours are pretty much up to you. You're not going to have Red Cross there right away.
Nope.
It's just not going to happen. Rescue services may be overwhelmed or unable to reach you, so self-reliance and a clear plan are super vital here. And then you have to be thinking about the long-term outlook when something like this happens, because even moderate earthquakes can leave people without power, clean water, or public services for weeks. Like, that's not unheard of. Recovery of grocery stores and gas stations and pharmacies might even take longer. And in some cases, a lot of businesses just don't reopen. So survival often hinges on cooperation. So stockpiles help, but history shows those who work with neighbors to pool resources and skills adapt faster and rebuild stronger. So, we hate our neighbors, but we can also live because of them. And they can help us. So you have to be thinking about that. And then the same thing we talk about all the time, expect emotional and psychological strain, because the shock of losing your house or your job, or your cat gets
waking
squished,
up early,
5
a.m.'s when this went off.
That could weigh on you pretty heavy sometimes. So you need to be able to build that resilience, keeping up routines, finding small wins, and supporting one another. That makes the long-term stuff, that survival, possible.
Yeah.
Right. And then thinking phases. This is a great way to look at things. I need immediate safety. So the next 5 minutes, I need to stay alive for the next 5 minutes. And then you're like, okay, now it's like a 72-hour thing, because we know after 72 hours, most likely we maybe get some federal help in here. And then it's longer term, right? So you have to be kind of mentally prepared for each stage. And that helps kind of reduce the decision fatigue and all that stuff that can come on real quick with that. But that is
I like those.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I got.
Yeah, watch out.
I don't have anything else.
No, that's great.
Damn.
That is it. You don't need anything else.
No, you don't.
We went through all of it.
We did, yeah. So that's the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. I think it's an interesting one to look at, and I think there was a lot of lessons there that we can take today as preppers and people who want to be prepared. It's some good stuff.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't the next earthquake that happened in the 80s?
Yeah, there's one in the 80s, right?
It seemed a little bit more some of this infrastructure. I mean, it was established a little better, but there was different complications.
There was different. We had freeways and stuff.
We'll probably talk about that at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. Appreciate the heck out you.
Mm-hmm.
Please make sure you've hit subscribe, follow us on all the socials. Go check out our other podcast, Raised by VHS. We appreciate you guys. Stay survived.